constitutional, strong, dynamic America. Am I wrong?
No.
So this is what I think has to happen, folks. You've got to have two things. Most of your problems, social and economic and whatever, can be solved by a rigorous enforcement of your constitution. Get rid of all these government departments that are not involved in the enumerated powers. EPA gone, get rid of them all, you know? You've got to do that. You've got to do that. You need a constitutionalist to do that.
Ted Cruz.
A constitutionalist. You need a constitutionalist who can inspire. So there are three constitutionalists in the race, in my opinion. There's Rand Paul, there is Bobby Jindal, and there's Ted Cruz. Now you have Mr. Trump who can inspire, believe me, and I love his message. He can inspire, but you need someone who loves the Constitution. How many of the constitutionalists, which of the constitutionalists in your field can you think would most inspire the base?
Ted Cruz.
So, I'm not going to name my favourite, but I would say this. This is what has to happen, folks, because you got one shot at this, because if you lose the next election, the Democrats are going to dissolve the southern border. They're going to import millions and millions of new Democrats. They're going to import millions more from the Middle East, and they're going to swamp you forever, folks. They don't ever intend to give up power again. The Democrat Party today is controlled by the unions, and the unions are controlled by the communists.
Yes, that's right.
Not many people realise that, folks, but that is what it is. This is not the Democratic Party of Harry Truman or JFK. This is the Democratic Party of Richard Trumka. And you think if he could swamp you out of existence with illegal immigrants, do you think he's not going to do that? Darn right he's going to do it. So if you put your top candidate in here, this is what has to happen, in my opinion. Say it's Ted Cruz or Scott Walker or Donald Trump runs as a president. Now, as all your field, you got 17 people, as they drop out, a lot of them are going to take their base with them. And you need those people, folks. You need them all. So this is what you could do to appeal to the base, to keep yourself together. The candidate, whether it be Ted Cruz or Donald Trump or whoever it is, the first thing you do is say, I'm going to name my VP early. And I would say Alan West would be a great choice for that. And then, to bring the libertarians on board, I'm going to say we will name Rand Paul as Secretary of the Treasury, and he can do what he damn well wants to the Federal Reserve and the IRS. Then bring Sarah Palin in, Secretary of Energy. Drill, baby, drill. Drill in your backyard if you want to. Scott Walker, Secretary of Labour. Sick it to the unions, Mr. Walker. Right to work in every state. Bring Mike Lee out of the Senate. Secretary of the Interior. And you know those federal lands out west they think they own? His job would be to give them back to the states so they can mine them and farm them for the benefit of their people. Who do you think would make a great, if he doesn't get the presidential, who do you think would make a great Secretary of Commerce, folks? EPA, fired. OSHA, fired. And who would make a great Secretary of Health and Human Services? Ben Carson. Restore dignity to your communities, end the welfare culture in this country. John Bolton, Secretary of State. And his job is going to be to flip the bird to Mr. Putin and the Ayatollahs and to rebuild the Western Alliance. Trey Gowdy, Attorney General. Go after those vote fraudsters and prosecute and jail them. Restore justice to your land. And for those millions of Christians out there, if they're not already fired up by Ben Carson or Ted Cruz or Sarah Palin, you bring David Barton in as Secretary of Education. Because they love their homeschooling and they hate that Common Core. Name your whole team, Mr. Trump, Mr. Cruz, name your whole cabinet and run as a team across this country. Would you guys be inspired by a team like that? And would it unify the base? Because everybody's getting something, right? The moderates get something, the evangelicals get something, the Tea Party gets something, the right-to-work people get something. Aren't you all Americans? Don't you all deserve representation in your own government? So what I'm saying, people, you've got a huge base now, better than Reagan ever had. The Tea Party, Glenn Beck, Mark Levin have educated millions of people on the Constitution in this country. I've been all over this country now. I've spoken in 43 of the 57 states so far. And you have an army out there waiting for leadership. You put that army together with a team of leaders like that, who would stand in your way, folks? No. And there is a precedent for this. You know, Lincoln named his cabinet of enemies to unify the country. Reagan named his cabinet in '76. But there's an even greater precedent. You didn't just have a founding father, guys. You didn't just have George Washington. You had George Washington and Samuel Adams and Patrick Henry and James Madison and Benjamin Franklin and Thomas Jefferson. You had a whole team to lead that revolution against the British, folks.
That's right.
And they had their egos, they had their agendas, but they put them aside for the sake of the country and the good of the revolution. And look at what they gave you, guys. Look at the amazing country they bequeathed you. So what I'm asking you guys to do is nominate a constitutionalist, get behind them and back them to the absolute hilt you can for the next year. Look, you work hard, people. You do hard, thankless work year in and year out. And I'm asking for another year of the hardest political work you have ever done. Because one more year is going to decide the fate of not just this country, but my country. Not just your children, but my children. I can't promise you very much, but I can promise you two things. If you do nothing, your children will live in slavery in this land.
That's right.
But if you give it everything you've got, every ounce of energy within you, for your God, your Constitution, and your country, the very least I can promise you is the right to look your children in the eye and say, I did everything I possibly could. What is that worth to you people? And if you win, and you can win, you will give your children not just the amazing country that you inherited, but one even greater. Is that worth fighting for? So I want to say to you folks, thank you so much for what you're doing for America, for my country, and for liberty. God bless America and God bless the Republican Assemblies. Thank you very much.